Hello, Madam Zame, how are you? Welcome to our session on adaptive leadership. And this is module 2, session 1. And we are looking on creating the conditions for adaptive work. When we did module 1, we were looking on what is adaptive leadership. And now we are beginning on module 2, which is today's session and tomorrow. Then hopefully next week we'll have module 3, which is the final module, where we'll be looking at the back to school package. We are still expecting some people to join, but this session is being recorded and it is going to be shared with all of us so that we can follow the recording. So in module 2, session 1, we are looking at 3 things. Introduction to the application of adaptive leadership, intervening, what to conserve or discuss in your adaptive work, as well as holding environment. Why is it essential to have holding environment? So Madam Zame, are you there? I want to hear you so that we can continue. Hello? Can you unmute and speak?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. So you are hearing what is happening, yeah?
Yes.
So we are going to continue. Maybe others are going to follow the recording. That's okay?
Okay.
So in this first session, we'll be looking at introduction to application of adaptive leadership. And remember last time we talked about technical and adaptive challenges. We found that there are some problems we have in our schools whereby we quickly just need to solve them technically. And there are some others where we need to solve them adaptively. So if you look at the challenge that you identified last week, you have for that for what is an adaptive challenge that meaningfully impacts teaching and learning in your school. I'm sure you identified a challenge which is meaningful to your school. And then within that challenge, remember last time we talked that a challenge has both technical and primary challenges. But then there you have to identify what is it that is adaptive to that particular problem. And then at the same time, ask yourself, what are the technical elements of this challenge which you are addressing? And finally, decide yourself what aspects of teaching and learning does this challenge address. So this is what we had done last time, whereby we are supposed to think of an issue in our leadership and we identify, is it adaptive or is it technical? Which part of it is primarily technical, which part of it is technical, and which part of it is adaptive? And then how does it influence the teaching and learning in school? So that is what we identified last time. So just to ask you quickly, Do you think your learners, staff, and teachers are ready to address the adaptive challenge which you identify? What will be your answer? Is it yes? Is it no? Or you're not sure? What is your response?
Yes, Mr. Minor.
Yes.
To me, I say yes, we are ready.
Great, great. Thank you very much. Because the first thing to decide is knowing whether you are ready or not. Now that you have decided you are ready, we can continue and unpack more information. Now, why do you think they are ready? Maybe you can tell me more.
We are ready because according to the new adaptive conditions we are in, you have to apply adaptive techniques in order to solve them, especially at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. What do you think will be the key sources of information for you to know everybody is ready? You have said it's because of the condition. Is there any other information that we need to pick from the key stakeholders to determine how ready we are?
Yeah, there is the need to communicate to the other stakeholders, like the teachers, BOM, and even parents and leaders around. Okay. Communicate, and we after every session, I normally communicate to some, not all, but to some of them, so as they know where we are.
Okay, thank you very much. So you can see that bringing everybody on board is very, very important. So we want to look at the introduction to application of adaptive leadership, and we see what it is, and then we look at intervening, what to conserve and what to discuss. So I want you to listen to this, and we are listening to this principal who went to a school, and he was thinking of what should I conserve and what should I discard. So let's listen, then we'll connect with you and ask you what in your case do you want to keep and what do you want to discard. So you have listened to this principal who had to decide what to discard and what to keep. So according to you, and don't tell me, just look at your list. Do you have anything that for you to do the adaptive work, you will need to discard and there are some things you need to keep? What do you think? Madam? Madam, any update? Is there something you want to keep and is there something you want to discard?
Excuse me, Mr. Gyoko.
Yes.
I think the sound of the documentation was not clear. If it could be repeated, please.
Can you also be able to read the text? There is some text below it.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, let us try again. Okay. So for him, he found that only some type of communities were taking science, and he was thinking of how he needs to bring everybody. So he wanted to discard that choice of only some are able to take and some are not able to take. For your case, do you think there are some things you'll conserve and there are some things you'll discard? Yes, Madam Simba?
Yeah. Okay. There are some things that you can discard, and there are some things that you can take them, because not all things can be applied. Some it's not necessary. You look at the first of all, look at the priorities first, and deal with the priorities. Then later, other things can follow.
Thank you very much. So you're saying that when we are doing adaptive work, we also need to look at the priority and then we decide what to do. Thank you very much. So you find that when you are talking about that, so you have talked about priority. So it means that you have to observe, interpret, then decide on how to intervene. So
exactly.
Today we are focusing on how to intervene, and that is informed by your observation and by your interpretation. So it means that when you want to now do something, then there must be some decision which you need to make. So let us listen to this. I hope it will be a bit clear, but just look at the text down there. It will help you more. I don't know why it's wrong. Something is wrong with my videos, but look at the text there. There'll be more guiding. So let's listen to what he's saying. So you can see that deciding on what to leave and what to discard is very, very important. but then you have to do a lot of observation, as you have seen the way he has done. And therefore, within our school cultures, as we are looking at what to bring out and what to keep, is very, very important. And sometimes, as you have said, you need to make a minor change to generate a major capacity. It's you to understand where are you in your school and what needs to be done. So one important thing which we are learning here is the ability to identify what to keep and what to discard. And if that is the case, then we also need to think of what we call holding environment. We have decided what to discard and what to keep. So how do we now come up with the holding environment?
This is going to improve, but you can also read what is written there.
They do not yet have the capacity to solve or to seize. Doing so collaboratively can be particularly difficult and frustrating. First, when you bring together people with differences in perspective who also care about the issues passionately, you get conflict and not just polite disagreement. It's a good thing that people bring different points of view on a challenge. And it's also a good thing when they care a lot. But you want to harness these natural conflicts to produce new ideas and collaborative learning, rather than have the conflicts break down. Down and damage relationships. This is a central challenge of leadership, perhaps everywhere. Second, public learning risks embarrassment and shame as people expose the frontiers of their competence to one another. Nearly all of us are enormously proud of our hard-earned competence. Pushing the frontier collaboratively feels risky and often generates avoidance. As a principal, you have a key role to play in blessing work at these frontiers of competence and holding people in the work of public learning across different points of view. To help people in the challenging process of adaptive work, a containing vessel, a holding environment is needed. The holding environment is a network of relationships that holds people in the hard, sometimes divisive work of problem solving. The term itself originates from the study of mothers and infants. It describes the function of the mother's presence as the child meets one challenge after another in its growth and development. I sometimes use the analogy of cooking to describe a holding environment. In a kitchen, you need a pot to cook in. Sometimes you even need a pressure.
Okay, it seems like it is stuck there.
Accelerate the mixing of ingredients. A pressure cooker is a pot with strong walls and under pressure, the ingredients are and enrich one another. A carrot becomes enriched by a and vice versa. Pressure cookers have pressures from getting too high. If you make a mistake by turning up the heat for too long, which I did in my student years, you can overcome the valve and the pot will blow up. I can tell you, making a real mess in the kitchen. When you cook, you use heat to get the different ingredients to enrich one another. But you also don't want the pot to boil over or explode. Like the walls of a pressure cooker, the stronger the bonds between the molecules, the more pressure the vessel can take, and the more cooking it can do. But the heat and the pressure and the vessels, with all the bonds of relationship that make it up, need to be monitored and managed to cook or to do adaptive work safely.
So it's very clear that one final way you can generate capacity to take on adaptive challenges is to create an environment that makes it easier for people to tolerate the difficult work. This is called creating and strengthening a holding environment. So we have been given an analogy here on how we can create a holding environment. And in this holding environment, you can see that we need to consider how will our people persevere as much as the adaptive work is stretching them, how will they be able to persevere? So regardless of the current situation of your holding environment, and having listened to that analogy that there will be heat, and for food to happen, this has to happen. And he also gave an analogy of the mother taking care of the child when the child is taking risks. What 3 actions might you suggest for us to improve the holding environment where our teachers are trying the adaptive work, but they are feeling safe because of the holding environment? What 3 actions can you suggest for the school leaders? What would you suggest? For school leaders? Madam Zame?
Yeah, to me, actually, for you to work well, especially in such, even if the work is hard, first of all, to talk to your team and build the strong bonds within the team. Inform them the exact work they are expected to do. Let them give you suggestions on how to go about it, and also give them your views about it. Then make a plan action in order to do the work. And you know that you will be in a teamwork rather than just imposing everything to them without discussing their views or without hearing their views.
Okay, so thank you very much. So you are just suggesting that we involve them, we listen to their views, and then we also have a plan together so that we are sure of this is how we are moving forward in this particular activity. Thank you very much for. So you can see it is very clear in creating a holding environment, because as we are moving on, we are trying something new, and it is going to be challenging, it's going to be risky, there'll be a lot of anxiety, a worry, but then what you have said is we are going to create a safety net so that everybody feels safe as we are engaging them and as we are working. Thank you very much. Welcome, Ms. Asma. As we are moving on, we are looking at module 2, and we are moving on, and the session is recorded, and it will also be given to everybody to listen to our discussion. So as we are moving on, you find that the holding environment is an environment in which the people are facing adaptive work, but they can accomplish. And Madam Zame, you have clearly talked about it, whereby there is a clear plan, there is a clear definition of this is what we are going to do, there is a clarity of what it takes so that everybody is feeling safe. And we are reminded the same on the holding environment, that we encounter holding environment in all sorts of settings, not just our professional lives. Indeed, every group from a family to an organization provides a holding environment either weakly or strongly. So it's like a safety valve in how, when we are working on how do we handle our people. And when we are talking about this safety valve, we can see that example which was given with the pressure cooker. He talked about the pressure cooker, whereby the pressure cooker itself is solid and it's supposed to hold whatever is going inside, which is too hot and is mixing up. So similarly, in schools, a shared desire to help learners achieve their potential helps create and reinforce the ability to tolerate the heat of adaptive change. A shared commitment to excellence, a common professional vocabulary, a shared history at a school, and even a comfortable room where people can meet, it can help strengthen the holding environment. So an additional element is trust. Trust is essential for strong holding environment. So let's look at trust a bit and see what does trust mean when you are trying something new in an adaptive environment, and it requires more than technical skills for it to be solved. So let us listen to what he says.
Bonds of trust. As the senior authority figure in the building, you serve as the vertical pillar of trust in the school. All the authority relationships amongst teachers and staff, and all the procedures and structures and processes that organize the life of the school finally anchor in the vertical structures of trust oriented by you. In addition, you have a key role to play in strengthening the horizontal bonds of trust, sometimes called social capital, that also hold people in challenging work that can put strain on these very relationships. These horizontal or lateral sources of cohesion consist of bonds of association amongst colleagues, shared purposes, values, traditions, identifications, and experience. Both sets of bonds, vertical and horizontal, create the conditions for public learning and problem solving. Minding, strengthening, and repairing these bonds of trust are therefore really important to your leadership. To lead from your authority position, you will want to strengthen the holding environment of your school to help your community better address its challenges. Sheila did this by earning her teachers' trust, thereby giving them a greater sense of safety with her, and by fostering collaborative processes and relationships among teachers so that they could feel safe with each other in figuring out how to improve teaching and increase learning. And after a while, teachers began to believe that as much as Sheila had faith in the children, she also had faith in them. Trust acts as a kind of glue that enables people to stay immersed in hard work when they might otherwise withdraw or disengage. So intentionally strengthening the bonds of trust within your school, the holding environment, will bring your school community together as it undertakes important adaptive work.
So we have been given an example of trust. So if you look at this, you can see the vertical element of trust and the horizontal element of trust. I'd like to hear your reaction. What is your reaction on this vertical and horizontal element of trusts? Any reaction? Any reaction? Madam Simba, Madam Asma? You can unmute and tell us something about the trust, the vertical and the horizontal. Madam Simba?
Yeah, yes. Now I was looking at this, the vertical and the horizontal structures. Yeah, in school, there must be that, or rather sharing of values, sharing or rather teamwork, binding together as a team, trusting one another. Then from there is when, once you have these strong bonds, is when you can work freely, and everyone will have that trust of working, will work hard towards the same common objective you are meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Asma, what's your reaction? Madam Asma? Madam Asma, are you able to unmute? I don't know if she can hear us.
I can hear you.
Yes, what is your reaction, madam?
No, I was just saying that
Uh-huh.
maybe through team teaching,
Yes,
you can use that.
the building of trust.
Yeah.
And how do
So
you
that you can, you know, when you get together, you team together, then that also bring trusts.
Okay. Thank you very
That is
much.
my feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. When you team together, you bring trust because now they see that we are in this together. I get you. I get you. So now here we need to be able to distinguish between the vertical and the horizontal. So I want to give you this exercise and you tell me which one do you think is horizontal, which one is it vertical trusts, according to you. Look at those statements. You can pick one and tell me this is horizontal, this is vertical. Pick any and tell me this is vertical and why do you think it is vertical? This one is horizontal, why you think it is horizontal?
Between student and his teacher, between teacher and a parent, and between two students, only between history teacher and maths teacher. That is vertical. Then only between, wow, these are hard.
No, let's just say no problem. We are trying to understand.
And assistant. That is vertical.
Which one is vertical?
Oh, okay, Dr. Maina.
Yes.
To me, number one,
Yes.
that is the bond between principal.
Yes.
That is vertical.
Yes.
In a sense that it's dripping down from the or rather the superior, or rather from the head to the deputy. That is somehow vertical.
Thank you.
Yes.
Asma, can you pick another one? We are looking at all of them. So one is already sorted.
I can't see properly.
Are you using your phone?
Yes.
That is
So you can pinch the phone and you can extend like that. Just pinch it and extend. You'll be able to see properly.
Oh, yes.
Okay, Dr. Maina, let me try number two.
Yes.
The bond between a college counselor and a student. Still, that is also vertical because the counselor to the student is vertical. If it, then student to her classmates, that is horizontal. It's between the children themselves. Just within the classroom or within the school, that is horizontal to me.
Yes.
Then parent, teacher to parent. That one is also vertical in a sense that a teacher is supposed to at least guide the parent on what is expected in school. And teacher has that authority to guide the parent. So that one. Then the bond between two students is horizontal to me. Yes, I think I have tried up to there.
Yes, thank you very much. Let us hear Madam Aspa. I'm sure she has expanded.
Yeah, I have. Maybe number three, between a student and his or her classroom teacher, that one could be horizontal, I feel.
Yes.
Because it is just within.
Another one?
Yes, awesome. Dr. Maina, let me try number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 6 between a history teacher and a math teacher. That is horizontal because it's among teachers themselves.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very
Then
much.
the last one between a school librarian and a school nurse. These are also workmates, although they are in different departments. So that one is also horizontal.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Madam Asma, you want to add something?
No, I was just thinking. I was thinking, but not yet. I have not got a proper answer.
Any addition to what?
Maybe what did you say about a teacher and a parent? Is it horizontal or vertical?
Madam Simba talked of vertical. What do you think?
I feel because it is within, because it's somebody from inside and outside, could be, according to the way I see it, should be horizontal.
Okay, I think both answers are correct because again, it also depends on how do you relate with your parents. So if there is a distance, as Madam Simba had said, then it will be vertical. But if there is a close bound between you and the teacher, then that will be horizontal. So both of them are correct because you know, trust is built by how are we working together, how are we relating to each other. So there are so many factors which bring it to board. Okay, so again, these are very important thing to consider when you are dealing with the adaptive challenge, because how you now with people or how you bring them and give them tasks will really depend on how they are responding to what you're doing. So that is very critical as you're working with them. How do you now know who to bring on board, who to share, and who to give something? So as we move on, you'll find out that in that particular case, the vertical is trust in an authority figure. And here, as a head teacher, you authorize your teachers and entrust them with classroom instruction and other responsibility on a daily basis. So as we learned in Module 1, this authorization goes both ways. And although you are formally authorized as a head teacher by the Teacher Service Commission, you are also authorized by your teachers. Because if you don't have followers, you can't be a head. So you are a head because you have people who are following you. You have people who are under you. So the bond between you and your teachers can be weak or strong, depending on how well each of you provide the basic services that are expected and demanded by your relative positions. For example, for you as a head, you expect the teachers to be in class on time. You expect them to teach. So the more they do that, the more they respond to you. Similarly, the same for you as a head teacher. If you are my head, I expect you to support me. I expect you to come and observe me. So the more you do that to me, then our trust is built up. So you find that just as each school will differ in its readiness to engage in adaptive work, each school will also differ in the strength of vertical bonds. So the way the bonds are from lower to upper, they will change. For example, you might find it easier to build trust with your teachers than the parents or guardians, whose exposure to the school practices are limited and selective. So the kind of bonding will change the way you work. Or you might find that the opposite is true, that you are related well with parents and guardians than the teacher, because the guardians and parents, they place greater faith in your abilities as an authority figure between you. So while trust between you and your staff may not be as strong or as eroded over time, so strengthening the bond, the vertical bond, is very important for you to have that environment where we are going to try something new. So having that is very important. Welcome, Mwanamisi, welcome. So you find that the other thing that we need to understand about this is the vertical bond. Sorry, the horizontal bond. And the horizontal bond is the trust among peers, colleagues, but it is called social capital. It's very, very, very important to have social capital, because you find that in social capital, you can be able to build that social capital when you are working with your teachers. So you can also strengthen a holding environment by strengthening the horizontal bonds of trust. Now, while horizontal bonds of trust exist within a hierarchy, you find that horizontal bond exists among people with similar position. That's why we say teacher, teacher. Remember the nurse, the teacher. Remember the student, the students. So normally, in most cases, it happens to people who are in the same position or status, or across boundaries later in different settings. For example, teachers and parents. They are in different settings, but they are almost in the same position. So that's where we have horizontal bond. Then the horizontal bond, they emerge organically, because it's how you meet in panel meetings, at the lunch table, in the classroom, how you have an issue and you are supported, in the school playground, during parent-teacher guardian meetings. So that is how, and they happen because you see the need of the other person working with you. You see the need of the other person supporting you. So in that case, when you see that particular opportunity that I can be supported by this particular person, when you see that particular opportunity, then you are able to appreciate that I can work with, there is this room. And this is very important when you are seeing this bond. So being able to establish this bond, it's very, very important. So we are talking about horizontal bonds. We are talking about vertical bonds. And knowing about these bonds is very, very important as a school leader, because it will help you the way you are dealing with adaptive challenges. So all these are very important. So vertical bond and horizontal bond. When you're dealing with these bonds, it's important that you remember they are not static. Remember, they are built on trust. So based on how I solved a problem with a parent, or how I handled an issue with a teacher, or how I handle an issue with the students, there will be some things which will be changing. So the vertical bond and the horizontal bond are not static, and they can be built or they can be dismantled over time. So the way you are relating with the teacher, the way you are relating with students, the way you are relating with parents, the way you are relating with your seniors can also influence the way that bonding is coming up. So it can influence, and also it can shape the way the bonding is built up. So as a school leaders, you can contribute to building strong horizontal bonds of trust among your teachers and your staff. So intentional practices such as professional development days and community building activities are effective. Even less formal approaches, such as providing a welcoming and comfortable atmosphere and workspaces, can be conducive to strengthening horizontal bond among the co-workers. So it is very, very important that as a leader, you look at what you can do for you to improve or increase the bonds. So I'd like to ask you in a short activity, look at your adaptive challenge, which you are handling. What are the vertical bonds of trust in your school holding environment that will affect your challenge? So can you share with us, and what are the 2 steps that you'll take to strengthen the bond? You had identified a vertical challenge you want to address. Now think about your vertical and horizontal and tell us about that and what you're going to do to improve it. Yes, Asma, I can see you want to say something.
No. I'm just reading.
Okay, let's take some 2 minutes to think about this and we react. Welcome, Aisha.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, tell me what will you do to address these challenges?
Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, now sometimes maybe you trust people in the society where you at work, you trust your teachers, you trust, but on the other hand, they don't trust you. They don't give you all the support because of one thing or another. So
Yes.
how to make sure that they trust you is maybe by talking to them and make them understand what type of person you are.
Okay, that is very interesting. So talking to them to understand what type of person you are. Thank you very much. Can we hear from others? How do we handle the vertical? Yes, Simba?
Yeah, on the side of vertical between, although I had prepared somehow like horizontal, but let me just explain it vertically. Now, in any place or company or institution, challenges like my place, I have a challenge of absenteeism among learners, where it has become like a chronic disease. So actually, to solve this problem, what we are doing right now, we are trying to have bonds between the class teacher and the parents, have proper communication between parents and the teachers in a way that pupil is absent, for example, could be have left home but has not reached school. So if there is that good relationship between the parent and the class teacher, there can be that communication to know where the whereabouts of that child in order to solve the child. Again, among the pupils in class, we've built a somehow or rather an encouragement, or we've talked to them in a way that they should have good relationship and know where the deskmate or classmate is. If he's absent, then they take that responsibility of following up. Is she sick, or what is happening to that child? Why has she not come to school? So that building of that good relationship and bonds and trust is helping somehow.
Wow,
Thank you.
that is very interesting. That is very interesting. And it speaks to what we did in module 1, where we say that in adaptive problems,
Yes.
the people are in the problem themselves. So to solve, you have to put them in, and you have ingeniously put in, because if my deskmate is not there and we left home, I can remind, I say, Mwanamisi is not here, and the parents can be told. That is very interesting. Anything else you want to add, Madam Simba?
Actually, for the time being, let me stop there and think a bit.
Thank you very much. Madam Mary Gikunju, what is your input in terms of, we're talking about vertical and horizontal trust. How do we build that with our participants? Madam Mary Gikunju. Madam Mary, and also we have Mwanamisi Mwambui. Mwamisi, what's your reaction? Mwamisi, we are listening to you. We have heard from Madam Asma and Madam Simba. You can speak, please. Madam Simba, are you there? Sorry, Madam Mary Gikunju, are you there to share about what the two Madam Asma has shared with us and Madam Zame? Madam Mary? Madam Simba, you want to add something?
Yeah, let me add a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, if also once we create a good somehow holding environment in a way
Yes.
that there is trust among let's say teachers, there is trust among the head between the head teacher and her teachers or his teachers, and create that free working environment, it keeps on, or rather it helps in a way that even if the head teacher is not in the school, but there is a put plan or they know exactly what they're expected to do and everyone does according to how you've agreed, work goes on without a problem, whether there is less supervision.
Okay, thank you very
Yes.
much. So you are saying that when that trust is built, there is less supervision, and it
Yes.
also helps in work done is easy. That is interesting. That is very interesting. Can we have another reaction from another one, or we move on? Madam Kunju is not responding, and Manamisi. So I think we are going to proceed. And these are some of the things which we need to appreciate as school leaders, that by assessing the adaptive capacity of our school, it gives us an opportunity to identify what are the ripe challenges. Remember last time we were talking about ripening. What is the ripe challenges in our school? Finding our school's assets and seeds of innovation, and also strengthening the holding environment. So when you do that, you are creating conditions that will support the school adaptive work. So you're identifying what are the low-hanging fruits? What are the things that I can use so that I succeed? So that assessment, as we have shared, it's very, very critical for all of us to be able to assess so that we can be able to realize how to move forward. And therefore, you find for schools in a state of crisis, with a weak holding environment, building this capacity is a large undertaking. It's not easy. No matter how you are on the adaptive change spectrum, building, strengthening, and enhancing the going can be tough at times, but the outcome, you will make it worth the effort. So this is what I wanted us to cover for this first hour before we take a screen break. And before we take a break, I'd like to ask you one point which is not clear from this session. One point which is not clear from this session, so that I can react to that. Then we take a short break of half an hour. Then we come and do the next session.
Okay, maybe you can explain further on horizontal and vertical, the difference between the two.
Okay, so she wants.
I have understood, but not very much.
Okay, let us listen again just a little.
Bonds of trust.
Okay.
As the senior authority figure in the building, you serve as the vertical pillar of trust in the school. All the authority relationships amongst teachers and staff, and all the procedures and structures and processes that organize the life of the school finally anchor in the vertical structures of trust oriented by you. In addition, you have a key role to play in strengthening the horizontal bonds of trust, sometimes called social capital, that also hold people in challenging work that can put strain on these very relationships. These horizontal or lateral sources of cohesion consist of bonds of association amongst colleagues, shared purposes, values, traditions, identifications, and experience. Both sets of bonds, vertical and horizontal, create the conditions for public learning and problem solving. Minding, strengthening, and repairing these bonds of trust are therefore really important to your leadership. To lead from your authority position, you will want to strengthen the holding environment of your school to help your community better address its challenges. Sheila did this by earning her teachers' trust, by giving them a great sense of safety.
Sorry, that.
Feel safe with each other in figuring out how to improve teaching and increase learning. And after a while, teachers began to believe that as much as Sheila had faith in the children, she also had faith in them. Trust acts as a kind of glue that enables people to stay immersed in hard work when they might otherwise withdraw or disengage. So intentionally strengthening the bonds of trust within your school, the holding environment, will bring your school community together as it undertakes important adaptive work.
So, Asma, it talks about that horizontal, whereby you are either in the same position. You can see the social capital. Horizontal is socially, but vertical is authoritarian, based on authority. So you find that this is vertical. It is based on authority, people who report to you, people who are under you. That's how it's brought about. But when you talk about horizontal, is how you interact with the people. So the way you interact with people, then you have a social relationship. That is what we talk about the two. Is that a bit clear? Asma? Is that a bit clear? Any other question we have any other point which is not clear before we take our short break? Anybody else with a question? So if there is no question, then we are going to take a short break of half an hour. Now it's 2:30. If we can meet 3 exactly, that will be good. And then we do the last session on what we are doing. So thank you very much. And I hope to see you after 30 minutes. Santeni sana, goodbye.